Hello, my nomies! This week's car is a Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, which is pretty much the opposite of me. I'm an Inlander nerd kind of guy, but they don't sell those. This is billed as an SUV, and it's probably one of the first SUVs that I've ever been in. Ever. That I know of. I've probably been in one or two, but certainly I've never really driven an SUV. And this is more like a compact SUV. It doesn't really remind me of any SUV that I've seen out there at all. So my review as it plays out is based on my experience, not as a car geek, but just as someone who drives from point A to point B, sees things that he likes, sees things that he doesn't like, and then shares his experiences with you. So the first time I saw it, I thought, wow, okay, this looks small. This is an SUV, really? It's really more like the difference between a compact car and an SUV, which is likely what they did. They mated the two. If car manufacturers do that, I don't really know much about that particular part of the process. When I sat in it for the first time, it felt comfortable, but at the same time, as I looked around, it didn't look very frilly. There were really no features that popped out at me. In fact, it was kind of, dare I say, outdated? I'm not going to say clunky, yet there were certain features that I just found to be inelegant compared to other experiences that I've had inside of vehicles this year. So, no frills. Everything that I saw in the car made it feel like I was in a car, but not something that was going to offer me a whole bunch of things that I might be able to use. So, that's just an initial impression, but my experience as I drove it certainly, I guess, kind of underscored my initial impressions. It has a sporty design. I like how it looks on the outside. Specifically, my wife loved the color. Diana's all about the color. But of course, I had imagined you'd be able to get the vehicle in a variety of colors. Still, the design was eye-catching. It seemed like a modern type of design, very stylish. The interior, as I noted, was relatively plain. Analog gauges, there were digital readouts, but you had to press an info button, which just kind of seemed like it was placed there as an afterthought, just kind of clunky, just sitting there. And then right beneath it, you could see that there were a couple of, I guess, positions for buttons that were never put into this particular model, which made me wonder, well, what else could this vehicle offer? The vehicle that I drove just seemed to have the bare essentials, across the board. So, upon driving it initially, it felt like a car, more of a car than I'd imagine an SUV. It felt comfortable. It felt not small. It felt compact. I asked my wife if she felt like she had room in the back seat, and she said she did, which is fine. I should note that I had to move the passenger seat up a bit on the driver's side in the front to accommodate the child seat in the back. Although installing the child seat was easy, there were the latches or the hooks that are usually installed in newer cars these days, so that was relatively straightforward. It's just that there wasn't a ton of space. I guess the seat may have been pushed further back, obviously. There's virtually no extras beyond an integrated backup camera, or a backup camera even. I don't know what a backup camera is. And even then, the nav screen is kind of small. I'm sure it's standard sized, but compared to what I've had in the past, it just seems that it's ample. And if I had a word to use to describe the vehicle, not just from the beginning, but now that I'm ready to trade in this car for the next review car, ample is the word that jumps out at me. It's ample. Everything is ample. And if that's what drives you, pun intended, I suppose, then this could be perfect for you as a driver. But I'll be getting into that in terms of who I believe this car is for and who I believe it is not for. The responsiveness of the Nav System screen was okay. Not mediocre, but kind of less than mediocre. It was passable. It was ample, to use that word again. The screen size really was kind of not jarring, but a little disappointing, I'll be honest with you. After you've experienced nav systems, built-in systems that have larger screens, it's kind of difficult to go back. And the position of the screen and the angle of the screen was sometimes difficult to see, specifically with sunlight coming in. And I'm trying to expedite this review, if only because I know the sun's out right now and it might overheat the camera, and I don't want that to happen again. The audio system, or the sound system, again, ample. It didn't impress me. It takes a lot to really, really impress me, but it didn't sound great. It sounded okay. I'm not slagging the vehicle. That's not me saying this is a horrible car. I'm just saying that it's ample. It's there. And someone who has, you know, a discerning eye is probably going to pick up on these things as well, but not everybody is or does. The fan or temp control settings I found to be kind of tricky, a little wonky. I mean, you've got several dials to mess with, and it just seemed that I couldn't get the right setting exactly how I wanted it to be. Some people like the analog knobs and dials, and I don't know, it just seemed not finished, so to speak. When I say that, I mean that it's obviously finished, but I mean the fit and finish, the polish that you would sometimes see in other vehicles you don't necessarily see in this car. It's ample. You have fan control, you have temperature control. Okay, trunk size, didn't have too many issues getting things back and forth, including the stroller that we have that collapses. It's not a super small stroller, but it was okay. I knew that we wouldn't be able to transport a lot back and forth specifically in the trunk. We're not the type of people who necessarily travel with anything on our roof, but I guess equipment could be accommodated on the roof, though we don't really have anything that would need to go up there. No surfboards, no skis, no bikes, no whatever you put on the top of your car. Okay, legroom all around. I didn't really feel like it was not enough, and I didn't feel like it was too much. It was like right in the middle. I really think the first feature that jumped out at me, if not the only feature that really jumped out at me or impressed me, was specifically the roof window. It's almost the entire span of the car roof, and that's kind of neat. You can adjust it by pressing this button up here, and it slides. The window does not open, FYI. Oh, I guess I could have pressed and held it to make it go all the way, but you have to actually hold it. Nope, maybe not. You learn something new even when you're reviewing a vehicle for a week. I thought it handled well enough, but I wouldn't say that the movements were necessarily smooth. There were times that I needed to turn and I just felt that it was a little, not jarring, but it just wasn't smooth. This car is for someone who doesn't like spending time in a car. Not gonna joke, that's the truth. Some people just use the car to get from here to there, and specifically for small families that get out, the weekend warriors. If you just need the vehicle to get you from here to there and then spend all your time out there, not a lot of time in the car, this is a good vehicle for you. It's for someone who doesn't want to commit to an SUV or a compact car. They want something kind of in between, but it's probably, in my estimation, despite it kind of being a higher profile vehicle, it felt more like a compact car than an SUV. And again, I don't have a lot of experiences with SUVs, but I was able to park in compact spots and had plenty of room to spare. If you're looking for drive experience and, you know, seeing this on the road, you just got to watch the daily Pirillo vlogs, the the vehicles I review, the review vehicles, are being driven in the daily vlogs over in the Pirillo Vlogs channel. We post a new vlog every day. So who is this car not for? Or vehicle or SUV? It's not for large families or people with large needs. Not for someone who just wants something beyond the basics. This is just the basics. And it's not for comfort. I wouldn't say that I was uncomfortable in the car, but it lacks a little finesse, honestly, and I think that's fine. That's not a problem. It's just you're getting something that's ample. I'm not slagging the vehicle. What I'm saying when I say that is that the car's not for everybody. Then again, no car really is for everybody. It's not for me, it's not for my family, but I was happy to drive it, if only for a brief while, and to get the experience to be able to share with you. So if I left out any aspect of the car, it was not intentional. It was just based upon my very limited experience, and very happy to answer any follow-up questions that you might have if I can answer it. I don't know everything about cars, which I think is probably what I believe makes you happy to watch my reviews, because I don't knock people over the head with things that they don't understand or don't care about. These are the things that I care about, and I'm happy to share the experience with you. So if you have any questions, leave comments. Thanks again for remembering to like, comment, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stuff. At this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.